And now, Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blanken. Tyler, I think I said co-host last week. Felt weird. We are in Laredo, Texas right now as I record this. I'm outside. The weather is beautiful. I'm glad I'm wearing shorts. It's a little warm. It's windy. Apologies in advance. But what a good day. How are you doing, my friend?
The home of Roxanne Perez. I'm doing very well. I must admit, I need to step my travel game up. Brad Winchester, this is the second week in a row you are on location. What am I doing? I don't know where my next location needs to be for a future GI, but I'm going to work on stepping that up. And man, it's so great to see you. I know we're going to get into your week, a magnificent week. All is well here. It's spring break. Well, actually, our spring break just finished. Your spring break has just begun. Yes. But of course, there's a lot to be grateful for. I have so much to talk about with you this episode. I have questions for you related to WWE and AEW. We're getting ready for Batch Final 3. I saw a movie that I have thoughts on. We're going to break down Opus in a little bit, but very happy to be here. Very grateful for everyone listening and watching and tuning in with us. How are you, my friend? How's Laredo?
It's great. It's beautiful here. It's windy. I was saying to you in the production meeting that it reminds me a lot of like the Green Bay area, weirdly enough, and also a little bit like Scottsdale, like North Scottsdale. Last year we had, or 2 years ago now, I can't even remember now. We had to go up for, as the wind howls, a procedure that Jess had to get done, and we were up near the Mayo Clinic area, and everything up there is like, my goodness.
This is what the people come here for. This is what we mean when we say on location.
Wild.
It's not a gimmick. It's true. It's real life.
It's been calm for the last 25 minutes, and then suddenly it decides to get
that we
spicy.
Recorded. But
yeah.
No, listen, I remember when you all were in Scottsdale, like you said. So it's giving Scottsdale meets De Pere. It's kind of like
there's a lot of medical facilities, and it's all new construction where we are right now, and it's just absolutely a Scottsdale thing. It's just like medical, all new buildings, new roads, new everything. Also, all the houses here are like narrow streets, green grass. And I was saying, this is crazy. I was saying that it reminds me of De Pere, and then we ran the corner and there's like a Packer banner flowing from the side of a house. Just absolutely crazy.
That's a sign that it's going to be a great week. What are the chances?
So, speaking of great weeks, my great week, my long week, my week has come to an end. Finally, I'm tired. I'm fulfilled. I'm so ready for another sleep. I could use about 15 hours. It's live event Joan time. I'm going to talk about Honk. So let's cue up the music and let's get into it. Tyler, this week, I was trying to think back, and I think this is my 10th musical that I've done as tech director. 9th or 10th, I can't even remember. It hasn't been 10 years, but we've doubled up several years. And it was awesome. Was it an easy experience? No. Was it totally free of problems? Absolutely not. There were some major problems, but it was a lot of fun. Our main speakers stopped working the day we recorded last week. I got them back before we recorded, and I thought we'd be good to go for the show. And then of course, opening night they stopped working again. And opening night we had to do some audibles, and we ended up having them stick for the rest of the show. So at the beginning of the show, we were planning on using computer sounds, some off the Mac, just some sound effects, dogs barking, glass shattering, Stone Cold style. By the way, as we record this, happy Austin 316 day. Stone Cold style glass shattering. Yes, it's 316.
We had Pie. We're coming off Pie Day Friday, and now
we have
Stone Cold Day as we record.
Yes,
okay. St. Patty's week.
St. Patty's tomorrow.
We're up.
We release this. Yes, great.
Okay, so you're working on
shirt. Working on the show. Gunshot sound effects, and we have some flashing lights. They're not flashing, but like we're spraying the crowd with light, and it's moving, so it's doing this. So you might get some strobe effect and we put it in the show preview thing that we do for the read, where it's like, welcome to the show, please put away your phones, take care of crying kids if you need to, whatever it is. And then by the way, there's strobing lights and gunshot sounds, heads up. So the main speaker stopped working, and instead of any of that stuff, we had to have people yell. So we didn't have the glass breaking sound when the kids in the show, they're never seen. They're always, the people in the show are always off camera because you can't hire giants. All the cast and characters in the show are either ducks, geese, other birds, or cats. So to have a scale-sized person in there would be difficult. So anyway, kids are playing off stage and they hit a ball through a window and you hear glass shatter. We couldn't play that sound. We can't exactly just go break some glass backstage. So the first night, someone just went, glass breaking sound, off the side of the stage for our glass breaking sound, which was hilarious. And then we got to
it was a hit with the audience.
It's so stupid. It's great. I wanted to do that from the beginning. I think with a comedy that's like cartoonishly silly, we should lean into it. And instead of having it be hyper realistic, I'm like, no, why do we have to play good sounding dogs barking? We could just have a kid go bark, 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 bark. And that's exactly what we did. I finally got my wish. I was so happy we went low tech. So for the gunshot sounds, my director out there, Jen Davis, she was backstage. I was in sound in case sound issues happen, and boy did they happen. And for the gunshots, it was her going bang, bang, and then lights flashing the psych in unison with the gunshot sounds to make people go, oh, there's a gunshot. It was great. Tyler was awesome. It was hilarious. The doorbell is just somebody yelling ding dong. And the last night I was like, you got to be really loud. It wasn't loud enough, and I'm sad. But I wanted it to be loud and obnoxiously slow the entirety of the Westminster chime. Instead of just ding dong, I wanted the whole song to play through verse 1 and verse 2, just ding dong ding, because the actors had no idea it was coming. I really wanted it to happen, and then it ended up being really quiet. It still happened though, so it made me happy. Live theater is so much fun. Sometimes stuff happens, Tyler. Live event Jones. We had a kid. Our cat has a scene where he's disguised as the Ugly Duckling's dad, and like he's doing it so we can get close, so we can eat him. That's his goal for the whole show, right? So when this girl comes in, Queenie, the other cat, he's like, hello, and like has to take his jacket off and his disguise off, and he's trying to do it, like I'm gonna impress her, and like I'm a tomcat, here we go. And
okay,
his button got stuck on his coat, or his flannel shirt. It was, he's like, his button's stuck, and just like acknowledged it, but in character. Awesome. So funny. The crowd was roaring because they were all like, yeah, he's definitely struggling to get that thing off.
We got the
huge pop. Totally awesome. Called an audible. I cobbled together a PA system at intermission, yeeting chords and stuff around, and that would have gotten lost had we not done that. And I'm so happy that they were able to see or hear and get a great visual experience for Act 2. Show was very successful. I think our second night was our strongest night because everything worked correctly. The actors brought it all of the nights. Night 1, they were so good that I don't think people cared as much that we had tech problems like wind. It was awesome. I'm so glad that it happened. I wish we could do another couple of nights, but I'm ready for a break. That's just kind of how it goes. Now, last week, I really wanted to use this, and we had it all ready to go, and you did a great job, made a masterful post to advertise it. But I felt weird recording at the school and then doing an advertisement for something that isn't school related. And Tyler, it's because we have such wonderful partners over at Prize Picks. Basketball season is heating up, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money while watching your favorite sports. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed when you use the promo code CLNS. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts and is available in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Laredo, shout out, Georgia, and Florida. Prize Picks is truly the best way to win real money with all the various opportunities to play and collect your winnings. Due to the enormous selection of players and stat types available, we can mix and match our playing strategies based on personal preferences. I might take Cade Cunningham for more than 7 assists. Tyler might select Kevin Durant for more than 27 points. Do you think Steph Curry will get more than 5 3-pointers next week? Giannis for more than 35 points? Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this basketball season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. And for those who love a quick win, Prize Picks is the way to go. You can make your picks and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Remember, with Prize Picks, it's as simple as picking more or picking less. Again, that's promo code CLNS to get $50 after you play your first $5 lineup. Gimmick infringement is rocking with Prize Picks, and you should too. Prize Picks, run your game. Tyler, wrestling happened this week. We got to get into it. WWE. Let's talk.
Let's do it. Okay, Brad, let's assume we're getting 2 triple threat matches at WrestleMania. Of course, I'm referring to Iyo Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley, and Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Here's my question. In both cases, who needs the win most? And which match is more likely to be the main event of night one?
I think night one is going to be the women's match. Out of all of them, I think it's Iyo. I know Iyo was recently a women's champion. I think at this point, it's safe to say Cody Rhodes is made. He isn't really like he's pretty bulletproof. CM Punk is, obviously Cena is. I would have loved to say Cena and say heel Cena needs this and to send him out appropriately. I think that would be good. I'm sure. What's the last pay-per-view of 2025?
Oh, wow.
I can't even think.
That's got to be, I'm thinking typically in November, December. I was going to go back to Unforgiven, but that's about like 2004 back.
Yeah.
That's a great question. What
I don't
comes
even
before
know.
Royal Rumble? I'm going to look it up.
Trying to
continue. I got you.
Because I'm trying to think about like because there's no chance Cena ends as a heel. 0% chance that Cena retires as a heel after spending his entire career as a babyface, or almost his entire career. I just think at some point he's going to flip and turn back and go out on top and get his flowers before he retires.
It's Survivor Series, by the way. Typically late November.
That makes
I think they'll usually have deadline for NXT in December.
Sure.
If I'm not mistaken. But Survivor Series.
I don't even think of that one. Like, when's the last one? Because I'm trying to think of like what John Cena's first pay-per-view was. Vengeance. You know what? Are we getting Vengeance this year? I know he's bringing back something. Triple H. I just don't remember.
I think that's become an NXT property as well in recent years.
Oh, it is Vengeance. Yeah, you're right. Was it Armageddon? I think that.
Yeah, talking about NXT typically closes the sort of PLE calendar after Survivor Series, but it's a great point by you. I firmly believe John Cena is beating Cody Rhodes. I think at this point it's pretty much slated to be the night 2 main event.
Night 2 for sure.
And Cena will win. But by the end of the year, yeah, certainly there could be an arc for John Cena to be full good guy. I could see that.
Yeah, I think out of everybody in there, Rhea's Rhea, Bianca's Bianca. I just feel like Iyo could probably use that bump, having beaten both of them. But she's currently holding the title, so I don't think it's going to happen. So I guess Cena, heel Cena, just because he's the most likely to win and get that going out of that. Everybody else is pretty made except Iyo. I don't think the overall audience has bought all into her. Everybody's all in on Rhea. I think everybody's still all in on Bianca, although you and I have talked about wanting heel Bianca forever. I just think I think it's Iyo. I think she could gain a lot from this, and I don't know. I think that's the answer.
Yeah, yeah, we see this similarly, and then I have a maybe a different point. I agree with you. Io to me is the move. I think she has to win this triple threat. Like you said,
Mhm.
she's already made in the sense that she's held the title. We can even look back to last year's WrestleMania, Brad, the match with Bailey, right? Io dropped. It was Bailey's story in Philadelphia. So to your point, Io was champ. We don't have to go too far back in our memory bank to remember those days. But her being victorious over Bianca and Ripley. I don't know who would take the pin in that scenario. I don't know if maybe we get
Yeah.
Jade interference, but Io leaving that match victorious would be a big look for her. In regards to the men's triple threat match, which I actually think is more likely to main event night one, I am team Seth Rollins for this. Yes, Seth just, we've seen Seth victorious, got the win over Punk, but he was leaving the cage first, so not a pinfall or submission. CM Punk is protected with good reason. Seth Rollins is the pick to win this match. If it is in fact a triple threat, I think Seth has the most to gain from a victory. Brad,
I agree with that. Yeah.
we've seen Roman literally stack two dudes on top of each other and pin them in a WrestleMania triple threat. We know Roman can be on God mode when needed. CM Punk again very protected, but to me Seth Rollins.
Oh yeah, that's right. I don't know why I was thinking Cena and
but Cena.
I was thinking Roman. I don't know why I was thinking it was Roman, Cody, and Cena for some reason in
that
my
you know
head.
that
Out of the other three, the other three, I answered that very wrong. Seth, you're right.
It's time for Seth to
Yeah.
get that signature victory, is it not?
Yeah.
I would love it. I need it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like he was the inaugural title holder for the new championship, but it just sort of felt like he was given the inaugural belt holder thing as a sign of respect because he's definitely earned it. But it felt like a placeholder spot. And I think this will do a lot for him to make it not, because like I don't know why it felt like that, because it's Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the best ever.
Absolutely.
And
But he's essentially playing little bro to Roman. It's been like that. It's been like that for years. The match for me would be Seth versus Roman straight
Agreed.
up.
Agreed.
One-on-one. You have over
Agreed.
a decade's worth of story to tell there,
Yep.
which played a factor in last year's Mania Night 2 main event with Roman and Cody. But you also have CM Punk here, who's one of the biggest stars in all of wrestling. So triple threat seems to be the clear move for this. I just want the outcome to be Seth Rollins victorious, and I need Roman versus Seth as soon as next year's WrestleMania, with the Architect getting the clean victory over Roman Reigns. That to me, that's the whenever we get there, that is the moment in the story. Roman's been made. He's the face of the company, but Seth, he would have so much to gain from winning this year in Vegas. And then whenever we get that one-on-one with him and Roman, which I'm sure has to be the plan at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's not, they're definitely not paying things off. You're right. It's been a 10-year build. I don't know why we haven't done it yet. Fully. We kind of did it. It was a crime. Roman murdered Seth, and then it was disqualification.
Yeah. And then the element of, well, okay, I'm clearly team Seth in this regard, but part of the story would be none of this, the Roman, the tribal chief, the nefarious mob boss, none of that would have happened if Seth didn't double cross him all those years ago, which led to Roman having trust issues and then going full tyranny mode.
Yeah.
So there's just
it's all Seth's fault.
Brad, I want it, I need it. Come on, let's make
that
this happen.
storyline. That storyline's going to happen at some point. They're going to pay it off. I just don't know if they'll do it this year. Maybe it's the build for the following Mania. I don't know, but I'm here for it. I just hope they don't. I hope they don't ruin it by giving it to us like in Saudi or something.
Lord.
Yeah,
that's probably the move. That's probably it, Brad.
Probably.
Oh no, I hope not.
Which is really unfortunate, but what are you going to do? So check my notes here. Of course, it's not going to unlock. I know what I want to ask you, Tyler. The Prophets are champs for the first time in was it 1,400 days or something crazy? I don't remember how many days. It's well over 1,000 days, and they're champs again, which is awesome. Finally, we've been talking about it for a while. Like, Give him something to do. That's not just like be menacing and show up every once in a while and disappear. It's we want to see him champions. My question, what's it mean going forward for both of these guys as singles wrestlers?
Well, first, allow me to put you over. This is one of the many reasons why I love you. I'm so glad you asked about the Profits. I was worried. I realized right before we recorded, oh no, I'm not even going to bring up Profits on this episode. That's blasphemous. What does it mean that they've defeated DIY and are now champs, specifically in terms of their singles prospects?
Mhm.
You know, I'm not. I'll put it to you this way: I'm not any more hopeful that either is going to have a meaningful singles title run. I hope they're not slotted in as just being tag team guys for eternity. But this is kind of the gift and the curse of them, is that they're so good as a team.
Yeah.
That if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Maybe that's the mentality. The moment was there for Montez to get the singles push. We had it at Chamber. What was that, about 2 or 3 years ago? I don't know if he's going to
Wow,
get.
was that long ago, huh?
I don't know if he's going to get that opportunity, Brad. I feel like at this point it's just me sort of shouting into the ether that I want him to challenge Gunther or Jey Uso or whomever. They're so good at what they do. I honestly don't think that this title reign, as amazing as I believe it's going to be, I don't know that it's going to lead to any greater prospects that either Angelo Dawkins, who's fantastic in his own right, nor Montez Ford are going to ascend after this and maybe challenge for the big belt. But alas, I'm still very eager to see what they do with this run. And as you pointed out, the fact that it's been 4 years is a crime. And I think just leads me to be even more grateful that we got this moment. And I also worry for Johnny Gargano, because I think his accidental super kick on Tommaso Ciampa is going to not lead to good things for him. Speaking of people who have trust issues, he's called the Sicilian psychopath for a reason. This is not good for Mr. Ohio. But Street Profits, it's going to be great. I just don't think we're going to get those singles pushes that we want. Am I just exaggerating? Am I just being?
No, I was thinking about what you said about Gargano and Ciampa. That's giving me KO and Sami Zayn.
Absolutely, yeah.
Repeat vibes.
Yeah, 100%.
I hope they don't do it again. I really hope so. But you make a great point there. I'm not really sure what any of it means, man. Yeah, I just saw the Profits and I was like, oh, that's really cool that they're finally champs again. But I wonder what it means for them going forward. I'm glad they're getting a big spot in the tag division, which is getting, better and better. And I think there's a lot of potential there to do some really good things. And right now, there's only a couple of groups that I feel I would want really leading that division. Profits, the Raiders. After that, it's sort of, DIY is great, but
Pretty Deadly seems next up for the Profits. I think they're the number one contenders.
Pretty Deadly, the Creeds. There's so many people that are,
New Day
right there.
Is always hanging around.
New Day is always there. There's other, Gunther drops this title and decides to go with Kaiser. Like it could be that. There's a million things that could happen there.
Otis and Tozawa. I don't know if they're going to hold gold, but they are always
it'd be a fun one for a brief run. I think it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Tozawa is such an underrated wrestler, man.
He is. And actually, I think there's a lot of parallels between the Profits and Akira and Tozawa. Hear me out in that what's so special about Montez, I think we see a lot of that in Otis. It's just a completely different package. Otis is so good at what he does. And when he took on Gunther, although I know he didn't have a chance of winning,
sure,
it's like, no, wait, this guy is, not only does he have crowd investment, but he's also very good in the ring, and he has a very unique presentation. I'm also not very hopeful that. Yeah, I'm also not very hopeful that he has an IC run in his future. Unfortunately,
no, he's a strong man, and he's like strong man. He looks like one. He's I believe a power lifter, Olympic power lifter is what he was doing. So he's like insanely and absurdly athletic and strong, and always a viable threat. They just, they don't always give him that big threat status, we'll call it. It makes it a little bit different than everybody else, but difficult to figure out what he's going to do in terms of chasing a singles belt. But I would love to see him hold hold gold again. Was the last time Otis was a tag champ? Was it with the Gable, or was it with when he was Heavy Machinery?
I think it was Heavy Machinery.
That's crazy.
With Tucky.
Yeah.
That's
Who's retired now. That's crazy.
Yeah, the former ASU Sun Devil. That's a blast from the past.
Yeah, man, I know it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Tyler, you got to go check out a movie or got to watch it at home. I'm not really sure. I don't know what happens in the world these days, so I'm excited to find out though. So cue up the music. It's time for GI at the movies. Let's go.
And now it's time for GI at the movies.
Okay, Brad. So speaking of threats, there is a threat that I need to inform you of. It is true. I went to Harkins Arrowhead on the west side, West Valley here in Arizona. I went to see the new psych thriller Opus. A few notes about this movie, actually several notes. It's A24's latest film, and it centers on Alfred Moretti, the biggest pop star of the century, who resurfaces after a 3 decades hiatus. His publicist announces on social media that a new album entitled Caesar's Request, Moretti's 18th studio album, is in the works. Moretti invites 6 lucky individuals for an exclusive listening party/week at his remote village in the Utah desert. The film was filmed in New Mexico, by the way. What could go wrong based on this plot? Everything. This is Mark Anthony Green's directorial debut. Before this, he was a longtime writer at GQ, my old job. He wrote this film as well. Brad Winchester, what is promising about this movie? First, fantastic cast. John Malkovich, the great John Malkovich, plays Moretti, and Iyo Sky plays our protagonist, Ariel Ecton, an intrepid magazine writer who receives the invite to this once-in-a-life opportunity. You may recognize her from The Bear and Abbott Elementary. She's great. What is also promising about this film, there are so many odes to films that you and I enjoy, and in fact have talked about on air. There are odes to Get Out, Us, and other exemplars in the genre. Midsummer, The Menu, Blink Twice, Don't Worry, Darling. The opening sequence of this film also gave me major M. Night vibes. I wonder if it's just me. Let us know out there at GIPod19. Okay, Brad, what is not working about this film? Everything else. The plot is very intriguing. The film serves as a critique of celebrity and our cult-like obsession with many of said celebrities. I don't want to give away spoilers here, but what is the film actually saying? That's unclear. And you can make an argument. It's up to audience interpretation. It's up to that discussion you have in the car, leaving the theater, or on your way to In-N-Out after checking out the film. But it just seems like there was an opportunity to really say something about this critique. And it was unclear to me. And I think there were several points in the film that were just not necessary, or just not the move that would have led to this being a great film. There are even grotesque elements that just seemed downright unnecessary. Again, maybe that's just me. Current score for Opus on Rotten Tomatoes is 38%. I recommend checking it out, but you do not need to go to the theater to see this. Again, the framework is there for this to be a great film, but it didn't quite reach those heights. Some strong performances, but I have many questions about this film, and even the say final 20 minutes of the film leave a lot to be desired. Again, please let us know what you think at GIPod19. Am I tripping? Do you agree? Hit us up. Let us know. Brad, you need to see this film, but wait till it comes to you.
Speaking of new heights, a plane is passing overhead. I am intrigued because A24 has had a pretty spectacular track record, but every once in a while they'll kick out an absolute turd burger because they went full experimental on stuff and it just doesn't work for whatever reason. I think that's a risk of any studio making a movie. It's, like a lot of times they just don't work for whatever reason.
The film premiered at Sundance. Again, cast wise, you have Juliette Lewis. You have a lot of talent here, and even Green, the director, Black director, first time up. He wrote the script. Like you're checking so many boxes for me, but I can't wait for you to see this, Brad. I'm sure we'll revisit this conversation at some point. The film is just, I don't regret seeing it, but it wasn't great. It was okay. It was okay. I don't regret seeing it, but I think it could have been even better.
Well, it's disappointing. I'm spending money to go to see a movie and then going like, like when you start roasting it in the middle, while you're sitting there with your popcorn or your soda, going like, what the hell is going on? Is this?
There were scenes I
when are they
laughed
gonna
at. I was like, this is a choice.
Oh no.
This is a choice.
I've done that in movies before.
Malkovich, though. I mean, come on, we're getting Malkovich.
Yeah, okay, I know what movie you're talking about. That's
our two leads were actually pretty solid, if not great, in their roles. But again, plot wise, there leaves a lot to be desired in this one, particularly that last 20 of the film. It was it wasn't great.
Denzel won an Oscar in a movie that wasn't very awesome. Like, it was fine. Training Day is not like the greatest movie ever. He's incredible in it.
Iconic role, right? Iconic performance.
Incredible in it. Well, it's kind of like
the gifts still exist on your phone and on Facebook, right?
Yes. Yeah. So like The Dark Knight, I feel like that movie probably would have, people were mad it didn't get nominated for an Oscar. And I'm like, it probably would have gotten nominated if they would have left out all of the Harvey Dent stuff at the end. They just tried to drag that all out just to do it. I feel like to book it and be like some heroes fall. And it's like, you could have just left him in the hospital and ended with the Joker stuff at the end, and it would have been great. But Heath Ledger is so good in that movie that you forget that Aaron Ekblad is in it playing Two-Face, or that some of the main characters die. Because it's like, no, Heath Ledger's in that, and he's the Joker, and it's incredible. The role that ended up, contributing to his loss of life, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think what this film does well, Brad, is you're mixing sort of the established veterans in the industry with the new blood. So again, shout out to Iyo. I believe this is her first feature film lead role. She's on the poster. She's doing the press tour with Malkovich and company. So again, there's some really dope reasons to support this film, which is why I wanted to go. I'm excited to see what she does from here. Her star is certainly growing. I hope this isn't the first and last attempt from Green as a director and as a writer. Let me know what you think. The topic of celebrity and how it can have a cult-like aura, super valid. I'm super into it. And I want people to see this film. But again, wait for it to come to you. Hit us up. Let us know what you think. And if you did go out and see it, again, we want to know your review. Drop us a comment. Let us know.
Tyler, we have to get into AEW talk. I know there's some storylines in there that I've been invested in, and I know you have been too. I imagine at least one of them is going to get brought up today. I'm a little scared that one of them is going to get brought up twice. So go ahead and hit me with your AEW question.
I feel some pressure now. I like it. Different question for you. Different spin on this one. Brad Winchester, which of the following scenarios is most likely to occur this week? I'm going to give you 4 options. A, Speedball Mike Bailey wins the 4-way and challenges Kenny Omega at Dynasty. B, in Owen Hart Nation of Domination fashion, MJF joins forces with the Hurt Syndicate. C, Chris Statlander evens the score, handing Megan Bayne her first singles loss this week on Dynamite. Or D, Cope defeats Mox in the Omaha Street Fight, becoming the new AEW World Champ.
I think I'm going to go with the first option.
Speedball.
I think it's Speedball. Speedball versus Kenny is a big fat draw. Like, people want to see that match. That match is going to rule. They presented him like a superstar. That's going to be a fun match if that happens. I kind of want to see Speedball and Kenny. MJF joining the Hurt Syndicate, I can absolutely see happening and then imploding right away, as a big swerve, or even MJF and MVP joining forces and disbanding the Hurt Syndicate, and then you have Lashley and shit. Wow. I don't want to see that happen. I don't think TK's dumb enough for that to happen, but I could see that happening. Okay. 2 really incredible people on the mic as a heel faction could be a lot of fun on their own. I don't think MVP joins because he doesn't need a mouthpiece. I also think I think Bane's momentum is going to carry that especially what happened on Collision. I think that'll carry that to the pay-per-view. Bayne and Toni Storm is obviously the move there. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Speed Kenny.
Speed Kenny. I love it.
Or Kenny Ball.
Let's go Speed Kenny. Let's go Speed Kenny.
Yeah.
The last option I presented you really intrigues me. The idea of this rematch happening 2 weeks later, which seemed to be people's least favorite match on the Revolution card.
I didn't even question it. I think Cope's going to get killed.
Really interesting. Okay, I don't think
or Christian's going to cost it because all Christian's still mad about it, and then it's going to cost Cope, and Cope's going to be like, "You did this again. Now I have to kill you." It's going to be a whole thing.
No doubt.
That seems to be the move.
To me, that could also be, speaking of Dynasty, that could also be a Dynasty program. We already have 3 potential matches. Swerve versus, I agree with you, Mox for the title. Megan Bayne versus Toni Storm. And maybe even Cope versus Christian Cage. Maybe pick with my heart. I think Ricochet gets it done. He wins the 4-way. So that Speedball certainly won't get pinned or submitted. But Ricochet is victorious and he challenges Kenny. Also, that would be another great match. Mm-hmm. Totally.
Makes sense, yeah.
I don't see MJF pulling an Owen Hart, even though I know that's one of that has a lot of lore in our relationship, is the Owen Hart Nation of Domination era. Also great gift, great material to use. I might surprise you here. I'm going to go Chris Stat picking up the victory. There could be interference. There could be some chicanery. But to me, you're to your point, Brad, you're certainly building up Megan Bayne. I think she's going to be the woman to defeat Toni Storm, whether it happens in Dynasty or not. We shall see. She's been super protected since debuting. You and I went to Dynamite in Phoenix. The crowd is really invested in Megan Bayne. We had a dude behind us saying, Megasis, with the sign all night. So
over and over and over again, yes.
Yeah, it was, shout out to you, good sir. I think the move is Chris Stat winning, though, because while you're building Megan Bayne, it's important to protect those foundational pieces of the women's division. And Chris Stat clearly has a lot invested in the company, as they do her. She's a day one. She checks all the boxes. She's been a champion. I just think we're on some important territory here, Brad, of for Chris Stat, if she continues to eat losses, granted, she's won more than she's lost in her AEW career by far, but we just saw her lose to Megan Bayne in Phoenix. I think if she were to lose this week, not that you can't build Chris Stat back up, especially if there's interference working in the favor of Megan Bayne, but I think you just have to be very deliberate at what you're doing with Chris Statlander, because to me, she is as important as any other woman in the division. You know, I'm yearning for Willow Nightingale to challenge Mercedes. I think that slot's going to be given to Athena, which I'm not mad at whatsoever. Mercedes is at the top. Timeless Tony's at the top. But you have to be careful with how you book Chris Stat. And I think it's important to protect her in that regard. So I'm going to go out on a limb. I say she evens up the score and she gets the revenge win over Megan Bayne this week. Somehow, some way. Wednesday Night Fever. Let's go. Laredo. And now from Laredo, Texas, Brad, your report.
I was trying not to. I was hoping I had a couple more seconds. Right when you started winding down, I was like, oh, crap, here we go.
I thought I was going long. I was like, no, I got to pass it back to Laredo, but you got airplanes. And
giant gust of wind, huge jet flying overhead. Maybe it's a sign that I gotta move to the next thing. But like, you make great points. And earlier on in Stat's AEW tenure, I feel like she lost a lot more, especially after she returned after her knee surgery out of the like gumball machine or whatever. And man, I can't even remember when that was. That was around the Best Friend Miro times. She came back and
Daly's place era.
It was Daly's for sure. Yeah. She took a lot of L's around that time, and then she won the title and had a run and won a ton of matches. But yeah, she has been eating a lot of pins and a lot of losses and stuff like that, even with interference. So you make a good point there. I still think it's going to be Megan Bayne, only because we haven't seen Bayne and Toni Storm yet.
Right.
So I think that's why I'm going there, which brings me to my question, Tyler. So it seems to be that Megan Bayne and Toni Storm is the move for the next title program for Toni Storm. Now that the Mariah May feud is over and Megan Bayne's been set up as this monster that is really difficult to beat. I have a couple of questions, but I'm gonna make it easier and just say, let's assume this feud is what the next move is. What do you hope to see out of it? And do you think that Megan Bayne has any chance of winning the title?
I definitely do for the latter. Absolutely. I can totally see Megan Bayne winning a dynasty. Frankly,
Same.
to me, there's something to be said as a fan that, of course, we want the 6 month title reigns, year title reigns, multi-year title reigns, of course. But there's something to be said for the shock and, oh, someone just got the title. It was a big deal. And then the following week or the next month, they dropped it. There's no better argument than Megan Bayne being the perfect example of this. She's been built. She has this hype around her. She's the unstoppable force. Why not have her beat Tony at Dynasty? And then this could be a multi-month program. So number one, I'm going out of order in your question. I definitely think Megan Bayne can win at Dynasty in Philly. Absolutely. I don't know that I would pick her quite yet, but I could totally see a world in which she has the shocking win over Timeless Tony, if you will. But then you also asked, what do I want from this? I want it to be a program. I want it to, dare I say, go into Double or Nothing and maybe after. Perhaps there's a rematch at Double or Nothing. We will be there. We will be in the building when AEW makes it to Glendale. So to me, this could be a really great program because you have the best character in the division, if not the company, in Timeless Tony. And then you also have the best built character in the women's division, not named Mercedes Moné at this moment, which is Megan Bayne. So your best character met with the sort of hottest new entity you have in the division. That's a recipe for success. Oh, he's muted. Look. Any
I
airplanes?
muted on the wrong spot. I muted over on the pod track, and then I must have muted on the screen. So I think you make a lot of really good points here. And the one that I was thinking about was Jamie Hayter having
Jamie
like a
Hayter.
very fast ascension. You know, like she was a manager for Britt, and I was just looking at Britt's contract status because November, I think, is the last time we saw her wrestle in AEW. Um, I'm not sure what's going on there. I know there were rumors that she's done with AEW, but um, it also sounds like that might not be true. And who knows if her health stuff came back? It seems like it was pretty significant. And if there was any worry or question, maybe she's just taking time off. I don't really know. We don't really know. We don't know what's going on there. But in any case, I think Jamie Hayter's very sudden rise and she gets the title shot and she wins the title and then carries it for a very long time until she gets hurt herself and drops it in a really big moment.
Awful timing.
Yeah. Um, I can see them doing that with Megan Bayne because the eventual Megan Bayne Jamie Hayter title match is going to be heard around the world.
Oh boy. Even a potential triple threat because
Oh
Tony
my gosh.
and
Yeah.
Hayter have history. Sign
Ouch.
me up.
Throw, you know what? Throw Sheeta in there. Like somebody's
Oh,
head or
shoot.
face is going to be in another planet. Um, Mariah May would be a great fit in that too.
Yeah.
Just people working really, really. What's the word? I guess Joshi style would probably be the easiest way rather than saying snug or stiff. It's just kind of how it is. Watching them wrestle that way and just hossing each other because Jamie Hayter is that like European style where they're just like, I'm going to William Regal punch you. And that's kind of it. I love that. I love that so much. That would rule. I can see that happening. Absolutely. Cannot wait to see how it plays out. I think that's the real thing is like there's so many different avenues and people talk about AEW not having storytelling. It's like, no, there's so many different avenues for this to play out that we can't really predict it very well. And all of them seem to have really good outcomes or benefits for us, the viewers. And speaking of unpredictable things for the viewers, Tyler, I've not been paying attention. I don't know. I can't wait for this. I can't wait to get caught up. I haven't been paying attention to anything, man. Right now I'm struggling. We got to hear what happened on Batch this week. All I see here is final three in my notes. So play the music. It's time for a rose from Tyler.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
Well, I am honored that you asked for said update. Brad, you know what time it is. I think I only have 2 or 3 more of these updates for the season. Here we go. The Women Tell All occurred. Number 1, that's what you need to know. These never need to be 2 hours, but alas, Carolina was cemented as being the prescribed villain for the season, if there was any doubt. Production and Carolina herself really doubled down on this villain arc. I suspect she's paradise bound. We shall see. There are 2 episodes left. Grant and his 3 remaining women, Latia, Juliana, and Zoe, travel to the Dominican Republic for fantasy suites this week. There are teases that Latia will not partake. Again, this is due to her strong LDS faith. So the teases continue of Latia's been the odds-on favorite for a long time to be Grant's choice. But how is he feeling about this, and would he be willing to embrace a new religion at this point in his life at, I think, nearly 30 years old, and particularly one that really is all-encompassing in this regard? I think Latia is still going to be the choice, full disclosure. There remains a case for Juliana. I could see a world in which she gets the final rose, but I am riding with Latia for now. I still don't think Grant is moving to Salt Lake, but I hear compromise is important in relationships. What do I know, Brad? I'm a 30-something podcaster, single. I'm just here. I'm just doing my best. My rose this week goes to Zoe. She's not winning, but this is a free trip to the Dominican Republic, and hopefully there will be professional opportunities for her following this season. So she is for sure going next. It's going to be Latia. It's going to be Juliana in that final 2. And again, I'm going with the former to go all the way. But there's only one way to find out. Tune in. Let us know what you think. Predictions, observations. You know we want to hear it all on YouTube, on Instagram, on X. Hit us up at GIPod19, at Winduster. Better yet, at GIPod19. And make sure you include Winduster because he wants to know your batch takes as well. Brad, this is true.
You're not wrong. I want to point out when people are incorrect. I think it'll be fun. So I love pointing it out. I love pointing out the flaws. I love it so much. I think I told you about the kid that fell in my classroom. I might have said it on the show. She tipped over in her chair. She was fine. Like, she reached her hand back and I watched her slowly go like out of frame.
Was it in really slow motion as you watched?
Oh, it was so good. Yeah. It was like
time froze.
Well, she was like realizing it was happening and there was nothing she could do. Everybody was locked in their assignments and then nobody saw it. So I made sure to go like, you good? You okay? She's like, oh yeah. It was like one kid laughed at our table. The other kid didn't see it. I saw it. And I was just like,
my most important question after, is the kid okay? This is giving 9th grader.
No, 11th.
Oh,
and a gymnast.
Big boost to the ego. Wow.
Yeah. So nobody saw it. So I was like, I don't think anybody saw it. Hey, did anybody see her fall out of her chair onto the floor for no reason? Because it was really embarrassing for her, I bet, because she fell out of her chair. Nobody saw it. I just asked. Nobody saw it. She was laughing hysterically. Like,
not to go full St. Patty's, but incredible luck on this young lady's part. I'm envious. Wow.
Yeah, nobody saw it, but I made sure everybody knew about it.
But you made sure. So you.
Yeah. She thought it was hilarious.
Humility.
Like, she and I have a great relationship. I'm not doing that to the kid with social anxiety.
Sure.
That's not a thing that's happening.
Context matters.
Yes, it does. It sure does. But she was just like, "What are you doing?" That's great. Tyler, what did we miss?
3 notes for you. First, TNA Sacrifice. Lots to like about the show. It was actually, I was going to say not too far from you, but I'm not up on my Texan geography. It occurred in El Paso, TNA's latest premium live event. I'm not really sure.
4 hours, 5-hour drive.
Yeah, Texas is huge. I've only driven through it.
It's massive, yeah.
A lot to like about this show, namely Mustafa Ali versus Mike Santana. Snug match. I'm going to borrow your word. It apparently, this was during a frog splash spot. Mike Santana, all 240 pounds of chiseled muscle of him, landed on Mustafa Ali, but rather than sort of his abdomen, he got a lot of Mustafa Ali's face. So much so that Fightful reported Mustafa Ali broke his jaw during the match, but I guess moved it back in place, finished the match, won the match, by the way, by distraction, and apparently is okay, last I heard. So those two, speaking of long-term feuds, those two are definitely going to scrap again. I think as soon as Impact this week, two of my favorite performers. I'm glad everyone seems to be okay, because during the match, I was like, oh, that when people tell you wrestling is fake, play that specific clip for them. So TNA still has a lot of momentum. Two other notes for you, my friend. It is March Madness season.
Yes, it
I'm
is.
feeling excited. I don't know if I'm feeling lucky yet, but as we record, I anxiously await Arizona men's basketball. Their seeding, probably a 4 seed. Is there a path to the Final Four? Can this be the year for Tommy Lloyd and Caleb Love and company? I hope so. They had a strong showing in the Big 12 tournament. We shall see. And then finally, Brad, we did not talk NXT. One quick note: Stephanie Vaquer versus Julia.
You called it.
We have a new double champ. La
You called it.
Primera. Vaquer left New York with both titles. I have many thoughts on this. To read them, check out gimmickinfringementpod.com. New article up there, Woman at the Garden, chronicling Stephanie Vaquer's rise and where we go from here for the double champ. It was a really phenomenal show, and I can't wait to see what's ahead for her being, if there was any doubt, being a face of the brand. That's all I got, Brad. What say you?
I don't have anything. I have nothing. I wish I did. I don't have anything. I don't know anything about what happened this week. I was in a zone, a tunnel of 14 to longer days, 14-hour days of just nonstop grinding and making sure that people got their money's worth, which for the most part, I feel like they did. It was a long week. It was a very full, beautiful, wonderful week. I'm so tired. The second I hit end recording, I'm going to sleep. Tyler, this was a lot of fun. I don't know that we missed anything else. We probably did. The Pecos River is beautiful at sunset. I do have that for you. I will say that. Absolutely beautiful. We pulled off to the side of the road to get pictures.
Oh, no kidding.
It was worth the stop.
Are,
Yes.
are they going to make it to social media? Are we going to get this was a week in Laredo recap by the end of your spring break?
For sure. For sure.
We need Freya.
But
we need Freya in this reel as well.
Oh, she's in there already. Yeah. The drive up, a lot of snow. That was weird. Driving through New Mexico and just getting bludgeoned in a snowstorm.
I was talking with someone about New Mexico weather recently. That's very random by me, but yeah, apparently lots of snow in New Mexico these days. So you passed by that?
Yeah, I drove through it. It was unpleasant. It rained most of the way on the way out, and then we got to a higher elevation. It got colder, and we got snow.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild.
So we're definitely gonna need a weather recap this time.
And now I'm out here going like, this is beautiful weather out here.
Yeah,
we're starting to get a little warm. I'm not gonna lie.
Let's go. Well, I love that for you and the fam. We love the fact that you all joined us for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Whether you're on spring break or not, we hope you have a great week ahead, and we will see you next time. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.